And I know it sounds very simple, but the flow of money and how much money is in the system really determines if the stock market goes up or down. To explain this, basically I denoted here, and I put it on this, right, is that here was the reverse repo. And to understand reverse repo here, basically when reverse repo goes up, banks are taking money that they have and parking it at the Federal Reserve. So here banks had a lot of money, and all of a sudden they started to funnel it to the Federal Reserve because it was the safest place to store money, and they were getting a guaranteed return, right? What better place than at the Federal Reserve to store your money? Basically as guaranteed as it can get. And so as the banks pushed money into the Fed and stored it there, it sucked money out of the system, out of the financial system. And interestingly enough, you can see as the money got sucked out, this is when the stock market topped in 2021, right here. And as they continued to do it, we saw the big correction in 2022. The bear market, the Nasdaq was down like 37%. I think the S&P was down about 25%. Then what you can see is reverse repo topped right here, and literally, basically to the day, the stock market bottomed in October of 2022. So as soon as the banks stopped pushing money and storing it at the Federal Reserve, essentially taking it out of the monetary system, that's when the stock market topped. And then look at this. This was the bottom on the market, the stock market. And then what happens to that money? Well, the Fed eventually has to give that money back to the banks. And as the Fed is giving that money back to the banks, it's flooding the system with so much liquidity. And you can see here, and what do we know about the stock market? From October of 2022 to where we currently are, we basically ripped up, took out the previous 2021 all-time highs, and ripped up and made new all-time highs. And we're essentially right around those all-time highs. Notice reverse repo, though, is starting to level out. And this, to me, is another indicator that if listen, it's not going back up, which would be sucking money out of the system, but you're kind of getting to a plateau area here where you may stop seeing at least additional money from the banks or coming from the Fed going into the banks that then gets lent out into the monetary system. So little stuff like that. I love kind of doing a macro Monday basic, insights here as we get into things. All right, so we're going to take a look at the charts in just a second here.